to the Leader of the Opposition, her members, and Mr. Speaker. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, who through Jesus Christ has revealed your glory to all nations, please protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. God of might, wisdom and justice, please assist our Belizean government and people with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct their plans and endeavors, so that with your help we may attain our just objectives. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may be preserved in union and in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessings of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to that eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen.
Good morning, members, and welcome to day 2 of the debate on the General Revenue Appropriation for 2025-2026. We look forward to today going smoothly, and so I ask your support as we go through the day's events. We start off today with the member from Fort George.
Morning, Mr. Speaker. Morning to all my colleagues here in the chamber. Good morning to the Leader of the Opposition, members of the Opposition. Madam Leader, I hope you're feeling better today. I'm glad to see you here this morning. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give my contribution to the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for fiscal year 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, you have a long day today, and there are some heavy-hitting marathon speakers coming after me. I won't call any names, of course, but let's just say my honorable friend from Orange Walk East is legendary. So I will try to be, you see, over 30 pages, Mr. Speaker. So I will try to be concise, invoking the father of the nation's advice of economy of words. And Mr. Speaker, I ask your indulgence as per Standing Order 35-6 to refer to my notes. Mr. Speaker, I start this morning acknowledging the brilliant and resilient people of Fort George, whom I have the honor and privilege to represent. They inspire me every day, they motivate me every day, they help me every day. In turn, my job, my purpose is to serve them, to speak for them, to improve their lives. The people of Fort George are my bosses, Mr. Speaker, and I have to keep them happy. Of course, I couldn't do that if I didn't have the love and support of my family at home. My wife, Jamie, my sons, John and Anthony, and of course, my daughter, Sophia, who always finds it intriguing to go through the big book of draft estimates. They are part of a broader team of family, friends, committee members, campaigners who grind every day for me and with me. I pause here to express my condolences to the family of Devona Lemott, Devo, as I called her. Little did I know that just a couple weeks ago at our Mother's Day program, where we celebrated 500 strong Fort George mothers, that would be the last time I would speak in person to Devona. She came in, walked right up to me, of course, and said, "Brother Charles, where's my Mother's Day gift?" I just laughed, and so did she. Her big laugh that she always had. Through thick and thin, Devo was always by my side, every event, every rally, every parade. To her husband, Leonard Mejia, and her 8 beautiful children. Please know that Devona was loved by many. She will be greatly missed, but her legacy will live on. And that legacy, Mr. Speaker, is one of service and community development. Like so many in Fort George, Devona was dedicated to the upliftment of her area. It is because of people like her that Fort George will forever be blazing, forever be strong. Together, we have achieved much, working in partnership with my colleague ministers and the portfolios they administer. I would like to take this opportunity to thank each of them for responding to the needs of Fort George. Grants to start small businesses, education scholarships, medical assistance, grocery bags and other social programs make up the majority of the monthly utilization of the Community Development Fund. Thank you, Prime Minister, for administering this fund and for assisting every single constituency in the country. All 31 constituencies receive the Community Development Fund, including the opposition. This fund and the work being done with its funds have a direct impact on all residents. But, Mr. Speaker, we are also proud about the capital projects that we have accomplished in the first term in Fort George, including 13 houses handed over to deserving residents, with currently 6 more in construction. 150 houses being repaired and renovated, especially after Hurricane Lisa. 200 purchase price approvals and land titles for first-time landowners. And the DPM is not here, but he and I always speak about this. One of the first things when a new landowner gets their title or gets their purchase price approval is they want to go see the land. It's that smile on their face. I want to go see where this land is. The cementing of Pickstock Street, Victoria Street, York Street, Mortree Lane, and Stuart Sally. Plans are now underway to cement Lovely Lane, Usher Street, Eden Street, and Ravens Alley. The opening of the Reef Music Studio. The converting of the Fort George Resource Center into a digital connect center. The refurbishing of the Fort George Artisan Alley. The refurbishing of 3 parks and recreation areas. Soon to come, the opening of the George Price Family House as a museum and learning center, thanks Minister Fonseca, and the groundbreaking for the modern, exciting Lighthouse Boardwalk, which will completely transform the area. Thank you, Minister of Tourism. Mr. Speaker, these are all success stories from Fort George. This is the budget in action. This is Plan Belize in action. This is tangible proof that by serving the people, we can transform the lives of Belizeans. And isn't that why we are here? To add value to people's lives? It is an awesome responsibility. The people have placed their hope and confidence in the People's United Party, and by the grace of God, we will not let them down. Mr. Speaker, it is because we have kept our promises, kept the social compact with the people, that they continue to vote for candidates of the People's United Party. As Prime Minister John Briceño said in his budget presentation, it is this administration that has turned promise to performance. He called it a thunderous endorsement, and I agree. 2 out of every 3 Belizean voter cast their X for the PUP countrywide, with margins of victory never seen before. Of course, with such a mandate, expectation is sky high. But we are soldiers of social justice, Mr. Speaker, and we will deliver for the people. The country knows that there is a clear difference between the parties. Just this past week, the headlines included a land scandal involving former UDP Minister Boots Martinez and the former UDP proprietors of the Bolido, who were not only milking Belizeans for millions of dollars without giving back 1 cent to sports, not 1 cent to health, not 1 cent to education, not 1 cent to social projects, nothing. But those proprietors and whoever was involved were not only cashing in their wealth, it is being reported by the tax department that they were also dodging millions in taxes. Mr. Speaker, Just like how this government took back Bolido for the Belizean people, it is my hope that we can take back Belizean Beach. And I wonder if any person from the opposition side will join in this chorus to take back Belizean Beach. Mr. Speaker, for 2+ years, I held the portfolio of religious affairs. What started out as a suggestion for a liaison with the church community became, in the wisdom of the Prime Minister, part of the ministry. I am grateful for the opportunity to work with church leaders in the Council of Churches, as well as other faith organizations, to discuss issues, resolve differences, and assist where possible. Thanks especially to Bishop Wright and former Senator Bengoshe. I am proud of the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed in December 2023 and the assistance that was provided to get churches properly registered. There is still a lot to accomplish and a lot to dialogue on, but I'm sure my colleague, the Honorable Louis Zabane, will get it done. Mr. Speaker, just over a month ago, the world lost a spiritual and moral leader when on Easter Monday, Pope Francis took his last breath, having celebrated Mass with the thousands of faithful just one day before. I'm reminded of Pope Francis's love of the poor and determined advocacy for social justice. He said, "Education, work, and access to health care are all key elements for development." Education, work, access to health care. These are pillars in Plan Belize. He went on to say that the just distribution of goods is a key element for the attainment of social justice, for membership in society, and for the free and responsible participation in political life. Powerful words, Mr. Speaker. We start each morning with our national prayer, which speaks about endeavors that tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. Mr. Speaker, if we are to continue on this path of national development, then we must embrace and promote these ideals. Recently, there has been a lot of talk about national values and ethos. This conversation is an important one, and encourage all Belizeans to join this discourse. Of course, there must be a North Star, a guide to the debate. And yes, thankfully there is one, found in our nation's highest law, the Constitution. In the preamble it says, "Whereas the people of Belize affirm that the nation of Belize shall be founded upon principles which acknowledge the supremacy of God, faith in human rights and fundamental freedoms, the position of the family in a society of free men and free institutions, the dignity of the human person, and the equal and inalienable rights with which all members of the human family are endowed by their Creator." Mr. Speaker, even though the preamble has 6 clauses, this very first one, in my opinion, is the anchor. It is what must guide us as a nation as we now consider the 167 recommendations of the People's Constitution Commission, a unique exercise in participatory democracy that was promised in Plan Belize and was delivered. For the past 30 months, the PCC has carried out its mandate to do the following. 1, educate the Belizean people on the Constitution. 2, consult with the Belizean people on any amendments to the Constitution. And 3, prepare a report with recommendations from the Belizean people. The Commission, therefore, was a conduit for the people to speak directly to the government. And the commissioners from the various stakeholders were not to filter, amend, nor add to the comments from Belizeans at home and abroad, which I understand was more than 6,500 comments in all. I would like to express my appreciation and gratitude to the chairman, the commissioners, and the administrative staff of the PCC for the work they have done, for the service to the country, and most importantly, for raising awareness about our Constitution and the way we are governed, and the way we govern our country. Mr. Speaker, at the heart of good governance are the values of transparency, accountability, integrity, and ethical leadership. Values that this government is committed to upholding as we continue to navigate the challenges of nation building. Yet, despite all these efforts, and despite the tremendous progress made by Prime Minister John Briceño on the international stage, Belize remains vulnerable. vulnerable to the developed world and their continued ignorance to climate change, vulnerable to the continued violation of human rights, vulnerable to the continued disregard for international norms and threats to peace. We must acknowledge the external pressures that at times seek to influence our governance systems. Foreign agents, motivated by their own interests, have attempted to exert influence, often challenging our sovereignty and undermining our commitment to good governance. It is essential that we remain vigilant, ensuring that Belize's governance processes are guided by our values and serve the best interests of the Belizean people. Turning now to a few of the numbers in this year's budget, which the Prime Minister presented along with a report on the state of the Belizean economy. And this report, Mr. Speaker, is verified by our international partners and by independent agencies. So when the Leader of the Opposition tried to insinuate that it was just spin, there really is no evidence to back it up. I was happy to hear the Leader say and declaring that the era of political posturing in opposition was over and that they wanted to be partners in nation building. But as she also said, political reflexes are sometimes hard to ignore and hard to break. So I suppose that was why it was more of the same. As she rightly said, however, Mr. Speaker, facts are stubborn things. It is important that we collect as much data as possible so that as policymakers we can make data-driven decisions. So let's look at a few of the statistical facts that the opposition cannot counter. 1. Economic growth for 2024 was measured at 8.2%, the highest GDP growth in the Western Hemisphere other than oil-rich Guyana. GDP at the end of 2020 was 4.086 billion. At the end of 2024, it had grown to 6.825 billion. Even with all the Petrocarib and BNE bonanza, the economy contracted under the UDP 3 years and Belize was in a prolonged recession. 2. The unemployment rate has been reduced to 3%. At no time under the UDP did the unemployment rate go below 6.6%. Pre-COVID unemployment was actually steadily going up. The job market has had a remarkable recovery, with many sectors reporting a shortage of labor. Add to that the increase in the minimum wage to $5 per hour, benefiting almost 43,000 workers with a 51% increase in their per hour salary. And this government is committed to increase the minimum wage to $6 per hour in this term. The public debt is now at 61% of GDP. At the close of year 2020, the public debt stood at $4.2 billion. At the close of year 2024, it is at $4.42 billion, an increase of $200 million in 4 years. A far cry from the days when the UDP was borrowing $1 million per day or $360 million per year just to pay salaries, keep the lights on and the water pouring. And 4, when the PUP took office, the actual outturn in the economy in 2020 revealed a primary deficit of 10.81% and an overall deficit of 12.82%. Looking at the figures from the past year, in the approved budget for 24-25, the projection was for a primary surplus of 0.46% and an overall deficit of 1.3%. The actual projected outturn for 24-25 is now projected to be a primary surplus of 1.48% and an overall deficit of 0.26%. This may sound like a small difference, Mr. Speaker, but in reality, in the primary surplus area alone, it represents more than $70 million. Again, a testament of the fiscal prudence and fiscal discipline of the John Briceño administration. Even in an election year, Mr. Speaker, there is a primary surplus, unheard of. I don't think the Leader of the Opposition can challenge that. Mr. Speaker, these are only a few of the economic indicators that serve as benchmarks for the economic well-being of our country. As I've said in previous presentations, when the PUP was elected in November 2020, we did not grieve. We rolled up our sleeve and we got to work. The UDP gave up, threw in the towel, bankrupted the country, and tried to wash their hands of the numerous fiscal sins they committed while in office. Mr. Speaker, I've spoken before about the 3 R's. rescue, recover, reposition. In order to rescue an economy on the brink of economic collapse, some hard decisions had to be made in 2021. But faster than anyone could have predicted, the recovery happened. This is so because of the prudent management of the economy and the hard work and confidence of our public officers and, by extension, the Belizean people. It is now time to reposition and accelerate the Belizean economy, to make the best use of our comparative advantages and to prepare for the challenges ahead. Mr. Speaker, the mission of the Ministry of Public Service is to establish, manage, and promote sound human resource management, good governance, free and fair electoral management, and service excellence through innovation and reform for a modernized Belize public service. The work being done at the Ministry would not be possible without a strong, committed team. I need to thank CEO Rolando Zetina, Ms. Christine Hyde, the heads of departments and units, the majority of which, Minister Tia, are women leaders, you'll be happy to know. I have to thank them and all the staff from the Ministry for being present and accountable. They have worked diligently to meet performance targets, and they have remained faithful to the policies that the people of Belize voted for. Allow me to summarize the highlights from the last year, and thanks to Ms. Sonia Pat and the Finance Department for preparing our request to the Ministry of Finance. But, Mr. Speaker, I rise today not just to speak of figures and allocations, but to share a compelling story of progress, of a Belizean public service that is transforming to meet the needs of a 21st century Belize. This is a story that is firmly grounded in the People's United Party's Plan Belize 2.0, a national vision to build a just, equitable, and resilient Belize. Our work over the past fiscal year has been nothing short of foundational. We are modernizing systems, strengthening trust, uplifting public officers, and setting the stage for sustainable, citizen-centered governance. I start now with the Human Resource Management Unit. This unit is managed by Mr. Marcelino Choco, who I'm sure everybody is familiar with. He's celebrating 35 years in the public service this year. Most of the objectives and processes that he has started over the past fiscal year are still ongoing. This includes the re-engineering the ministry's process flow to address the efficiency of the ministry to respond to its customers in a timely manner. The digitization of records as part of establishing an electronic records management system to complement the new process flow for the activities. Modernizing the human resource management systems, processes, policies, and practices, and updating the human resource manual in tandem with this new system. And finally, conducting a staffer desk audit to determine if they are, and this is his language, pseudo-employees. Now, I'm sure he's referring to the ghost workers that we're all familiar about. He calls them pseudo-employees. I'm not sure where he gets that from, but I like it. We began by tackling the heart of our government's transformation, digitization. We successfully rolled out the MyGOB leave management system, trained officers across all ministries, and launched a duty leave module, initiatives that are making government operations more efficient, transparent, and citizen-focused. But we are not stopping there. We are moving forward with the implementation of Neo People, a new human resource and payroll system for the Belize Public Service. This transition marks a turning point in public service management, placing us squarely in line with our Plan Belize 2.0 priority of digital governance and e-transformation. Turning now to the Job Classification and Compensation Unit, which plays a key strategic role within the ministry. Its primary focus is to enhance the institutional and human resource management capacities of the Belize Public Service to ensure it is well prepared for modernization. I need to make special mention of Ms. Michelle Gill, who recently retired from the public service. Ms. Gill is a pioneer in this area and an important source of knowledge. As we continue the comprehensive review of the compensation in the public service, I hope that Ms. Gill will continue to play an integral role in this process. The unit, which is now headed by Mrs. Marilyn Lee Piniello, is tasked with the development, maintenance, and oversight of the job classification and compensation system. It supports the refinement and enhancement of organizational structures by developing current and proposed organizational charts for ministries and departments, clearly outlining reporting relationships and accounting for all positions within each line ministry. It contributes to upholding the principle of equal pay for equal work, thus making sure that there's equality in the workforce between men and women to make sure that we have equal pay for equal work. It enhances the recruitment, selection, and onboarding processes through the development of clear job specifications, requirements, and compensation measures. Promotes improved employee management relations by ensuring a clear understanding of job roles, responsibilities, and reporting lines. In addition, the JCCU also provides recommendations and requests from ministries and departments regarding the creation, reclassification, redesignation, conversion, and upgrading of positions within the public service. The JCCU develops and revises numerous job descriptions, both new and existing, and it is the central repository of organizational structures and all job descriptions in the public service. The JCCU also, Mr. Speaker, conducts workforce analysis and monitors labor market trends to define job categories, determine role requirements, and recommend appropriate compensation. Mr. Speaker, fairness and transparency in employment are not privileges, they are rights. Through our job classification and compensation unit, we have reviewed and restructured the framework of multiple ministries, including the Attorney General's Ministry and the Ministry of National Defense. We have upgraded technical positions and addressed anomalies in salaries to ensure that Belize's best minds remain in the public service. And as I said, we reaffirm our commitment to the principle of equal pay for equal work, a core promise under public sector reform in Plan Belize 2.0. Turning now, Mr. Speaker, to the Human Resource Management Information System. This supports the management of human resource data and streamlining of HR processes. I don't know how the head of this department, Ms. Radisha Simpson, is able to keep up with all the tasks assigned to her, but this is something that she has done excellent over the past few years. She has led the rollout of the MyGOB and is now leading the initiative as we approach more digitization and modernization. She oversees the job search and employment application website, which continues to serve as a primary recruitment source for the public service. Traffic to this site has notably increased. As of March 2025, there has been 9,100 visitors and 217 vacancies have been posted on this site. In addition, the strategic initiatives, the unit continues operational activities, including HR and payroll data entry and maintenance into the SmartStream system. Reports are provided on a regular basis to government agencies, unions, and statutory bodies as requested. Mr. Speaker, turning now to the Training and Development Unit. This is a critical unit within the public service, and it's one that we have invested quite a bit in. It plays a crucial role in enhancing the Belize Public Service's ability to fulfill its mandate and fostering a culture of continuous learning, growth, and service excellence. The goal is to build a future-ready workforce in line with Plan Belize 2.0's Human Capital Development Agenda. We are cultivating a public service that is skilled, aware, and prepared to lead. With the retirement of Mrs. Sandra Diaz-Cadle, the unit is now headed by Ms. Cordelia Belzer, who has been doing a good job in her new role. The Training Development Unit is responsible for various human resource training and development functions within the public service, including training profiles and skills records, training needs analysis, induction program development and delivery, processing local and foreign training and development opportunities, training and development budgets, monitoring and evaluation of programs, coordination, facilitation, and delivery of in-house training, assisting with the management of projects and programs geared towards strengthening capacity building and fostering relationships with relevant stakeholders within the training and development community. Mr. Speaker, if I can highlight a couple of these training modules, including which we are very proud of, the induction training course. In 2022, the piloting of the online induction training course for the Belize Public Service was launched via UB's learning platform, and I certainly want to thank the University of Belize for partnering with us in this initiative. This training introduced new and current officers to key principles, regulations, and government operations. Upon completion, participants gained a foundational understanding of their roles, responsibilities, and conditions of service. The program has expanded significantly. To date, 1,618 public officers have participated in the induction training. Mr. Speaker, the clerical promotional programs continue as we always make sure that the program is offered to the University of Belize's e-learning platform. So far, 80 second-class and technical clerks from different departments have participated in this clerical program. We developed recently, Mr. Speaker, the Election and Boundaries Professional Certification Program. The Elections and Boundaries Program aims to ensure that officers in the Election and Boundaries Department are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to uphold the democratic process and maintain public trust in the electoral system. These certificates will enhance the skills, knowledge, and professionalism of the officers, ensuring that they are well prepared to manage and oversee election processes, maintain the integrity of electoral boundaries, and effectively serve the public. The certificate program addresses critical skills required for their roles while fostering good governance. So far, 26 assistant registering officers, or AROs, and registering officers, ROs, are currently enrolled in the program. There have been other training initiatives, Mr. Speaker, such as a very important Google AI Essentials training done for public officers, a training done in collaboration with the PETAL initiative, which seeks to promote transparent, equitable, and corruption-free public service delivery that rebuilds respect, mainstreams gender and human rights, and contributes to the achievement of relevant sustainable development goals. This initiative includes training in paraprofessional psychosocial support. I'm not sure I can say that 3 times in a row. As well as legal literacy, among other capacity building areas that can help public officers more effectively advance and expand human services delivery that is respectful of human rights, promotes gender equity, and contributes to the reduction of violence perpetrated on the vulnerable, including those in the project target area. Mr. Speaker, we're also starting the Strengthening Public Expenditure Management, or the SPEM project. The public financial program is aimed at enhancing the capacity of public officers involved in public financial management. This program is set to start very soon. Mr. Speaker, we're also the national nominating body for the Commonwealth Master Scholarships. The 2 nominees submitted by Belize for 2025-26 are Shimon Armstrong, a processing agent from the Belize Social Security Board, and Edwin Varela, a force finance officer from the Belize Defense Force. Mr. Armstrong is pursuing a master's degree in good governance, while Mr. Varela is pursuing a master's degree in explosive ordnance engineering. We wish both of them all the best. Mr. Speaker, these are only a few of the training initiatives that this unit has undertaken, in addition to all of the different public officers' requests for approvals to support study leave, financial assistance, increments for higher qualification, and notification of enrollment to pursue further studies. Mr. Speaker, relevant, timely, and impactful training initiatives are fundamental to enhancing organizational performance, driving innovation, and ensuring the Belize Public Service remains adaptive and forward-thinking. To fully realize this potential, strategic investment in institutional strengthening through staffing, technology, partnerships, and infrastructure must be prioritized as a national imperative. Turning now, Mr. Speaker, to the Customer Service and Quality Assurance Unit, which is headed by Mrs. Freya August. Mr. Speaker, our government understands that trust is earned, not given, and so this ministry has taken deliberate steps to rebuild confidence in the public service. Through this unit, we have facilitated national training, reaching over 1,500 public officers, and hosted the 18th Public Service Day celebration and the Public Service Walk of Recognition in Belmopan. The National Customer Experience Survey, now completed, will inform how we measure and improve our services moving forward. we are laying the groundwork to launch a customer service index for every ministry and department, a first for Belize. Turning now to the Employee Assistance Program, Mr. Speaker. Protecting our greatest asset is the goal of this program, and of course, our greatest asset is our people. From mental health support to financial counseling and suicide prevention workshops, we have created a safety net for those who serve our nation. Public officers now benefit from 24-hour support, expanded practitioner networks, and a proactive follow-up system. This is the human face of modernization, and it aligns directly with our Plan Belize 2.0 promise to foster a healthy and empowered workforce. Thanks goes to the head of the unit, Ms. Caetano. Election and Boundaries Department. Mr. Speaker, over the last 15 months, the Election and Boundaries Department, under the leadership of Chief Elections Officer Mrs. Josephine Tamai, has conducted free and fair elections for the municipal elections of March 2024, a by-election in Toledo East, July of 2024, general elections in March 2025, and the ongoing village council elections. This is in addition to the daily registration of voters, the monthly and annual revision of lists, voter outreach programs, and general education of voters countrywide. Needless to say, Mr. Speaker, as the guardians of our democracy, this department needs to be appreciated and commended for the work that they have been doing. And as the Prime Minister said right after the March general elections, this government hopes that the redistricting exercise can commence in earnest very soon and can be completed by the end of 2026. Mr. Speaker, our ministry's progress is a reflection of the broader transformation this government has set in motion. We are turning challenges into blueprints, needs into solutions, and possibilities into policy. To every public officer, your work and worth are recognized. To every Belizean citizen, your trust is sacred. To this honorable House, your continued support will ensure that together we build a public service that is modern, merit-based, transparent, and fully equipped to serve the Belize of today and tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has assigned some new portfolios to me under the Disaster Risk Management. The Ministry overseeing the National Meteorological Service, the National Fire Service, and the National Emergency Management Organization made commendable progress during the fiscal year 2024-2025. These advancements align with the PUP's Plan Belize commitments to climate resilience, disaster preparedness, and public safety. I want to acknowledge the work done by my colleagues, Honorable Orlando Habet and Honorable Andre Perez, as they have managed these portfolios before. In the National Meteorological Service, Mr. Speaker, advancing climate resilience is the goal. This includes expansion of weather monitoring infrastructure. The NMS has expanded its nationwide network to over 80 weather stations, enhancing our capacity to monitor and to respond to climatic events. It has developed a mobile forecasting tool and the progression towards the legal establishment of the National Meteorological Service of Belize. This underscores our commitment to modernizing the Met Service. In terms of human resource development, Mr. Speaker, investments have been made in training, programs for weather forecasters, and technicians are improving service delivery. These initiatives are critical as Belize was ranked the second most affected country by extreme weather in the 2025 Climate Risk Index, highlighting the urgency of bolstering our climate resilience infrastructure. The National Fire Service, Mr. Speaker, strengthens emergency response. The Emergency Medical Service provision was launched in Belize City and Orange Walk, and this has enhanced the emergency response capabilities. Approval for 80 additional firefighters reflects our government's dedication to strengthening the NFS workforce. Plans are underway for new fire stations addressing the needs of growing communities. In this term, Mr. Speaker, we will build the headquarters for the National Fire Service. As this House will recall, it was the UDP administration that sold the fire station headquarters. Sadly, the monies from that sale were never seen. These efforts align with Plan Belize's focus on improving public safety and emergency services across the nation. For the National Emergency Management Organization, enhancing disaster preparedness is its main goal, and this year, NEMO is celebrating its 25th anniversary. NEMO has updated its national preparedness strategies and initiated a 5-year work program aiming to improve disaster response and resilience. It has completed the National Disaster Risk Management Plan. And of course, in terms of capacity building, despite not enough investment before, training and planning, the infrastructure has improved. NEMO continues to seek external funding to implement the country's disaster risk reduction agenda. Mr. Speaker, these developments are in line with regional efforts to improve disaster preparedness, as evidenced by initiatives like the Caribbean Development Bank's funding for multi-hazard impact-based forecasting systems, and illustrates the ministry's vision for a safer, better prepared Belize. Mr. Speaker, as I come to the end of my remarks, I acknowledge that while much has been done, much more needs to be done. The Deputy Prime Minister spoke about the proposals that the Cabinet has approved in response to the requests from the joint unions. Let me state from the onset that over the past 4 years, we have had meaningful, productive dialogue with the joint members, led currently by Mrs. Nadia Callis at the BNTU, Mr. Dean Flowers at the PSU, and Chief Sharon Fraser from the APSSM. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to speak briefly for the record on these proposals. Number one, the execution of the CBA framework on June 18, or another date if agreed upon by the parties. The last round of CBA negotiations lasted almost 2 decades because of intransigence on the part of the UDP administration, which for 13 years could not reach an agreement. Proud to say, Mr. Speaker, that last year the CBA was signed by Prime Minister John Briceño, a major achievement in industrial relations. 0. Well, she was there in cabinet, Prime Minister. This new round of CBA negotiations has a framework that will conclude within a year, and we are prepared to get it done in that timeline. Number two, disbursement of funds to meet the transfer grants due and owing under the 2021-2024 CBA. Mr. Speaker, this increase in transfer grant was agreed to in the CBA, and it covers the period April 1, 2021 to March 31, 2025, totaling just under $230,000. These payments will now be made to public officers who were transferred during that period and received the previously agreed to transfer grant. Number three, the reaffirmation and commitment to the $6 minimum wage. Mr. Speaker, this is one of the pillars of Plan Belize 2.0, and the government is committed to implement after proper consultation and engagement with all stakeholders. Number four, salary adjustment. In reference to the salary adjustment, the government is proposing a 3% adjustment in October 2025 and an additional increment at the start of fiscal year 2026-2027 to make up for the frozen increment in 2021. In addition, the remaining 5.5% and a second frozen increment will be adjusted within a maximum 3-year period. Mr. Speaker, each increment represents 2.5 to 3% of an adjustment. So the actual figure is not 8.5%, but over 3 years it will be closer to 14.5% in this 3-year period. Number five, the legal effect to GOB's assumption of 100% payment of pension and gratuities for teachers and staff at grant-aided schools. This was agreed to commence in September 2024, clearing a major bone of contention for teachers who had been advocating for years. Prior to this, the government was paying 70%, with the school management paying 30%. Because of financial constraints on the part of school managements, the 30% was not always being paid, putting teachers and staff at these schools at an unfair disadvantage. Government has stepped up to the plate and assumed the full 100% of these payments. Minister of Foreign Affairs, this has added 10 million more to the budget, is it? 10 million more added to the budget to cover this additional 30% per year. As I have said, Mr. Speaker, the approach has been a respectful one, and going forward, we want to continue with this comprehensive approach, grounded in the principles of quality of life and productivity, looking at, but not limited to, 1, a CPI cost of living formula, 2, continued income tax relief, 3, land access, 4, housing programs, 5, education scholarships, 6, union officers' benefits and privileges, and 7, of course, agreed upon performance targets. Mr. Speaker, we await the response from the unions, but I maintain that we achieve more by speaking to each other rather than at each other. Mr. Speaker, December 31st, 2024 marked 75 years since the formation of the People's Committee. Sadly, it went kind of unnoticed. This revolutionary group came together to protest the devaluation of the Belizean dollar and led to the formation of the People's United Party on September 29, 1950. The nationalist movement led to the peaceful, constructive Belizean Revolution, which led us to political independence. We are now in the midst of a new revolution, the Plan Belize Revolution, the goal of which is economic and cultural independence. We are one people, Mr. Speaker. We are one country. We are one Belize. We must always be ready to defend and protect our sovereignty with unity and focus. Mr. Speaker, we must always be forever Belize. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of Fort George, I support this budget. Thank you.
I recognize the member from Dangriga.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Buenos dias, buiti binafi. Dios ci junilich. Guten Morgen. It is with pleasure and enthusiasm that I rise on behalf of the beautiful people of the Dangriga constituency, including Sarowe and Hope Creek, to fully support this from promise to performance General Revenue Appropriation Bill 2025. I'd like to just mention, following on Minister Usher's point, that I only have 14 pages, but I have like double space, 12 font. When I converted it to single space, 7 font, I only had 2 pages. I start, as before in previous budget debate presentations, by commending our visionary Prime Minister, Honorable John Briceño, and our hardworking and innovative cabinet, and all who contributed for preparing yet another sustainable human development budget. What we have before us is another solid plan to continue on our path to the sustainable human development of our beloved country. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to first thank Prime Minister Briceño for affording me the privilege and opportunity to serve in Cabinet, leading the Ministry of Constitution and Religious Affairs, Indigenous Affairs, and Transportation. I look forward to working closely with all my distinguished colleagues, both in Cabinet and in the National Assembly, as we deliver on Plan Belize 2.0. And I am grateful to have a great leadership team at the Ministry, including our new CEO, Williams, who brings much relevant experience to the Ministry. In my presentation this morning, I will speak broadly about the sustainable human development approach, at the risk of becoming somewhat academic. But then we have various types of presentations, if you will, different approaches to making presentations, and so I will move on with that approach and that style, indeed, Minister. I will speak broadly and then talk about the Constitution and Religious Affairs, Indigenous Affairs, and Transportation Ministry, and of course, with your permission, Mr. Speaker, about our Dangriga constituency. In previous presentations, I did cover the concept of sustainable human development, and I looked through those lenses and hope that by sharing this, it might be of value in terms of considering how we can make policy better, prepare our policies better that will, at the end of the day, achieve the objectives of improving the lives of our people. A person's worldview affects his or her decision-making and actions, and therefore it is most important to understand how someone thinks to be able to predict what they may do. The sustainable human development approach has evolved out of the need to offer a better approach to the neoclassical paradigm that, while comprised of solid basic economic concepts, has not been able to adequately guide policymakers and politicians around the world to secure true development. The neoclassical approach by itself does not suffice for true development. Sustainable human development combines two relatively nascent areas of thought, namely sustainable development and human development. Sustainable development is defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It contains within it two concepts: the concepts of needs, in particular the essential needs of the world's poor, to which overriding priority should be given, and the idea of limitations imposed by the state of technology and social organization on the environment's ability to meet present and future needs. The four pillars of sustainable development, which is a part of sustainable human development, are the economic, social, institutional, and environmental areas. These four areas provide the macro variables that impact the micro reality of individual citizens. Economic factors, as important and relevant as they may be, should be seen in combination with factors from other areas. Consideration should also be given to social factors, including, for example, social cohesion, education and health quality, and security, among others. The strength and relevance of institutions must be examined, including a country's constitution and political system, such as the balance between and effectiveness of the legislature, executive, and judiciary. And equally important, the wise use of our environmental resources must also be prioritized in policy preparation and development. When we miss any of these factors, the intended aims and objectives of policies will be difficult to attain. Nobel economist and father of the human development approach, Amartya Sen, argues that neoclassical economics often overlooks the importance of how individuals' circumstances and social norms can shape their choices and the outcomes they experience. Sen's capability approach offers an alternative framework for evaluating well-being, focusing on the freedoms and opportunities people have to achieve what they value in life, rather than solely relying on resource accumulation or subjective utility. While for many this may sound esoteric, grand words for those that study economics and philosophy, we in Belize have a rich history of this sustainable human development worldview, namely the philosophy of the father of our nation, George Cadle Price. His mixed economy prescription recognized the centrality of the individual citizen, whose welfare is captured in his slogan, "Serve the People," the very philosophy of our John Briceño administration. The Sustainable Human Development Paradigm provides a scientific framework via the capability approach to evaluate how the lives of people are affected by the interaction of sustainable development and human development factors, in reality promoting in a systemic way the very same worldview of the father of our nation. So, all policy proposals need to start out by addressing whether or not the opportunities of individual citizens are improved, if their freedoms to fulfill their aspirations and dreams are expanded. This budget continues in this spirit of George Cadle Price, in adherence with the powerful principles of sustainable human development. Mr. Speaker, I'll turn now to Constitution and Religious Affairs. Our Constitution is fundamental to our country's sustainable human development. It is central to the institutional pillar of sustainable human development. A weak, outdated, and irrelevant Constitution will continue to adversely impact the capability of our people. This is why, over 2 years ago, our government, led by our dynamic Prime Minister, ensured the passage of legislation to put in place a process to review our Constitution by gathering the views of our people via the People's Constitution Commission. They are submitting their 167 recommendations report, including dissenting views, that, as we are aware, due to the magnitude of the task to review, we have asked for the review period to be extended from 2 to 12 months. This will allow us to provide proper and comprehensive attention that this very important task deserves. The mission of the Religious Affairs portion of the ministry is to ensure interfaith collaboration and to improve and strengthen our church-state partnership. We recognize the invaluable contributions of religious and faith-based organizations to the sustainable human development of our country. The majority, if not all of us in this honorable house, have benefited from the education provided by religious schools. I myself attended Holy Angels RC Primary School in Pomona, Stan Creek Ecumenical High School, and St. John's Sixth Form, all which focus on that important aspect of competency, values, and principles. We cannot be a fully competent and productive country with only the other two competencies, parts of the competency, that is, knowledge and skills. We also need to apply knowledge with a commitment to doing things that not only benefit us, but also consider the welfare of fellow brothers and sisters in society. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to commend the member from Fort George, who was the minister responsible for these two areas in our last term, Honorable Henry Charles Usher. Everywhere I go and meet with our stakeholders, they give him high praise for the great work that he advanced with them. And he did make remarks about his experience in that capacity. Turning to indigenous affairs, our Maya brothers and sisters in southern Belize, particularly in the Toledo district, have been waiting for decades to have their cultural land practices properly recognized. On October 30th, 2015, the Caribbean Court of Justice proclaimed that Maya land rights must be respected by the state of Belize and referenced the consent order of April 22nd, 2015 as follows, quote, paragraph 3, in order to achieve the objective of paragraph 2, the court accepts the undertaking of the government to, in consultation with the Maya people or their representatives, develop the legislative, administrative, and/or other measures necessary to create an effective mechanism to identify and protect the property and other rights arising from Maya customary land tenure in accordance with Maya customary laws and land tenure practices. End of quote. And paragraph 2 refers to the Constitution of Belize as it refers to respecting the rights of our people. We have continued in this new term the work started by the former minister responsible for Indigenous Affairs, the member for Belize Rural Central, Honorable Dolores Baldemaramos Garcia. Thank you, Honorable Dolores, for the foundation that you have laid. And thank you for briefing me, and thanks to the CEOs who worked prior, who have also shared their experiences with me. I would also like to thank the area representatives of Toledo East and Toledo West, who have also been exceptional partners in this work that we have. And we also have a subcommittee of cabinet comprised of the three of us and other members who are working together on this matter. Mr. Speaker, I'll turn to transportation now. Our transportation system is vital to our sustainable human development. Over the past few decades, our transportation system has deteriorated, characterized by too many occasions of lawless and dangerous driving on our roads and highways, and questionable enforcement and poor obedience of our laws. We have already started the challenging task of reforming this part of the ministry. The member from Stann Creek West, my neighbor, the Honorable Rodwell Ferguson, worked hard to improve the state of affairs at the ministry, including trying to work out a better arrangement for highway bus operators across the country. He flagged the corrupt activities occurring at the Spanish Lookout office, and we have moved with urgency and determination, along with the DPP's office, to engage in a full investigation of the matter. While we appreciate the concern of some loud voices in the public, we assure our Belizean people that we do not need outside prompting to know our responsibilities and to follow through with doing what needs to be done. To properly move forward with improvements in enforcement of traffic laws and regulations to meet international standards, to restructure and strengthen the national transport monitoring and evaluation systems, to increase public awareness and communication of transport policies, laws, and safety messages, and to generally pursue a transportation system that we can be proud of. This budget has increased the allocation from last year at $8,394,510 to $10,536,121, a 25.5% increase. We will work diligently with what we have and be innovative in creating paths to practical solutions, with the aim always to improve safety on our highways and increase the reliability and quality of service of our bus transport sector. I now turn to the innovative and practical proposal made to our highway bus transport operators. Yesterday, the leader of the opposition and member of Albert stated that our plan is to create a monopoly, and she insinuated that it is just another scheme that will not bring any benefits to our people. I welcome her comments and those made off the record by her colleague, member from Queen Square, that this is just a Novelos 2.0 because it provides, member from Queen Square, because it provides the opportunity, and I will dispel that, because it provides the opportunity to share details, and I welcome these comments to dispel these baseless concerns and also encourage them to get all the facts before making such comments that in retrospect they may regret as being uninformed and misguided. So the goal of the public-private partnership is to create the PPP for the consolidation of the national highway bus system to achieve economies of scale that will yield lower operating costs, improve reliability, higher quality service, and greater safety. The Belize National Highway bus system has been a source of public outcry for decades due to poor service stemming from low reliability, substandard buses and bus terminals, and grave safety issues, among other problems. Commuters suffer from consistent late departures, breakdowns on the roads, overcrowding of buses, leaky windows and roofs, dangerous racing on the highways, occasional accidents due to negligence and/or defective buses, and unruly drivers, conductors, and terminal staff. To address this national scourge, the following plan has been proposed to the operators. Stages 1 and 2 of the plan have already been approved by the Cabinet. In Stage 1, the Ministry is in consultation with the 31 national highway bus operators to get buy-in from them. The significant benefits of the PPP compared to the status quo and other proposals are being explained. Meetings have occurred as a group and one-on-one with individual operators. And we have another meeting on Friday with the entire group. The time frame for this is 2 months, which is last month and this month of May. The second stage is the assessment of the value of each bus operator, to be done by qualified independent accounting firms, auditing firms, chosen by a committee comprised of 1 member of the Ministry of Transportation and 4 operators nominated by the 31 operators. The valuation will be used to determine either a payout to the operator or the issuance of a proportionate number of shares in the PPP company, or a mix of both. The auditors will also calculate the value of all terminals and related property owned by the government. The estimated opening value of the new company will then be determined. The time frame for that is June to July 2025. We then go back to Cabinet and present the results of that work, and then talk about now this third phase that the colleagues in Cabinet will decide in their wisdom if we should continue going forward. The third phase has to do with preparing an implementation plan that would be executed started January 1st of next year. This execution plan itself will include the development of the PPP legal documents and legislation. 2, the process to select a new board of directors for the company, since it will be a new company. 3, the process of hiring of a management team and staff. 4, procurement of new buses. 5, building of new terminals, especially in Belize City, Orange Walk, and Toledo in the first instance, and the improvement of remaining terminals. 6, identification and procurement of pertinent technology, such as GPS systems and an e-commerce system for ticketing and accounting for revenues and expenses. 7, creation of a national inventory depot for the new company. 8, a training plan for all personnel, including drivers and conductors, terminal staff, and maintenance inventory staff. The timeline for that would be August, September, and October of this year. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and those who are viewing, the benefits of this new PPP would include the following. 1, lower costs from economies of scale due to buying in bulk and standardization of equipment type. Better management of operations, including scheduling and finance, due to better qualified management staff and modern systems. 3, higher quality service due to the higher reliability and comfort of new buses, better trained staff, and modern bus terminals. 4, higher levels of safety on the highways due to newer buses, elimination of racing on the roads, and better trained drivers. 5, reduce pollution due to newer buses and a gradual shift to a mix of traditional and electric buses. 6, lower overall import bill for fuel and parts. 7, the creation of national pride by citizens to finally have a modern bus system that all Belizeans deserve. This national bus company would then be owned by the GOP, the GOB, Government of Belize, in partnership with all present bus operators who wish to convert their present value of their companies, determined again by that independent auditor, into shares in the company. This new PPP would be protected by appropriate legislation to ensure that no other operator can come in to erode the market of the new company. This is different from what occurred in the case of Novelos in the early 2000s, when, after the consolidation took place by the very private bus owners buying out other operators, the Minister of Transport started to give out competing permits that undermined the Novelos company. To address the question of why a monopoly is acceptable in this case, let us review some basic applied economic concepts. Monopolies are indeed only promoted by economists in special cases. Industrial organization, a subfield of economics, studies market structures across the spectrum from what is called, and these are esoteric terms again, but I will break it down with your permission, Mr. Speaker, right after I get done with this section. And I'll even use some Creole. Across the spectrum from perfectly competitive markets to perfectly competitive market is where you have the most extent of competition. You're moving over to what is called imperfect competition. Then you go over towards the monopoly, that third area called oligopolies. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have what are called monopolies. Monopolies being one supplier, perfect competition meaning many, many suppliers. For example, in Belize, a structure that may be closest to the definition of perfect competition would be market day for fruits and vegetables in the Belmopan market or any of the municipal markets. You have many suppliers, many persons buying, and prices fluctuate according to supply and demand, almost instantaneously. The restaurant sector would be more closely characterized as imperfect competition, while the local airline and telecom industries would fall under the category of oligopoly, or more precisely duopoly, since there are two in each of those markets. BWSL and BEL are monopolies. They're the only suppliers. Question is, so why don't we have many other water suppliers to compete with BWSL? It is because water supply is called a natural monopoly, where as the entity expands, grows, it experiences lower and lower average costs over a range of the amount of supply it is providing. Imagine having many water suppliers in Belize, each with either a smaller market each or worse, competing with each other, duplicating water lines and connections to homes and businesses. Imagine that. Each smaller company would not benefit from economies of scale and would have higher costs compared to the larger national BWSL. If competition would be allowed in particular markets, for example, 5 water suppliers in Belize City, then this absurd situation would prevail, meaning that you'd have 5 water lines under each street and potentially 5 water connections at each house and business. This would certainly be wasteful duplication and clearly economically unwise. If we look at the national highway bus industry, it is characterized by a large number of suppliers, 31 total operators, serving a relatively small market. Each day we have between 150 and 190 buses carrying between 7,000 and 12,000 passengers. The first observation here is that there are many consumers that use the service. So in terms of sustainable human development, under the institutional pillar, it is clearly in the interest of the government, political systems falling under that, to recognize that we are talking about a sector that serves thousands of our people, and they should be the focus of what we're concerned about. It's the commuters that we should be concerned about. A shift in thinking has also recently occurred, if I may, with your permission, Minister of Education, in the education sector, in which we have switched the focus away from government, managements, and teachers to who it should be focused on, the students, the thousands of students who attend our educational institutions. In a similar way, I encourage everyone, let us switch the focus where it belongs, on the commuters, the thousands of commuters who use the bus system every single day. About 30% of the operators, only 9 of those 31 operators, compete with each other and move about 70% of the passengers. The other 22 operators, the smaller ones, have less than 6 buses each. Some only have 2, 1. And they move, I will address that right now, madam. I will explain to you how they will eat. And they move about 30% of passengers. If one looks at larger developed countries with better quality national bus transportation systems, there are fewer bus operators that move tens and hundreds of thousands of passengers. In Mexico, for example, the bus companies are organized by regions. You know, ADO and the other companies that are there. And within each region, they act as monopolies or oligopolies. And they move thousands of people. Why? Because the national bus sector is recognized as having features that justify having a monopoly structure within their particular markets. Economies of scale refer to that economic reality that I will repeat, as the entity becomes larger, it is able to do things at lower and lower costs over a certain range, where the small bus operators, Madam Member from Albert, where the small operators cannot achieve those economies of scale. With our Belize industry, a larger company will be able to buy inputs, tires, parts, fuel at lower costs because it can buy in bulk, something that the smaller operators cannot do. A PPP structure also provides incentives to lower costs, such as to provide duty and tax exemptions over a certain period of time. So this plan is for the small man and woman. It is the small man and woman who use the bus every day. They're the ones we should be keeping in mind. And this plan takes into consideration the interests of that same small bus operator we're talking about, because now they will have the opportunity to become owners of a much larger company that will have greater profitability, and they will be able to indeed have a better quality of life themselves. So, one more aspect that I wish to share. Think about BTL, the ownership of BTL, okay? Which started out as a monopoly, is now a duopoly. BTL is owned 49% by the government of Belize. It is owned 39% by the Social Security Board. It is owned 8% by Central Bank. And it is owned 9% by over 1,500 individual citizens shareholders. So that structure is a public-private partnership that already exists. In a similar way, BWSL and BEL that have that composition, and those companies have the legal framework to protect them so that you don't have the erosion of their bottom lines. It is therefore as clear as day that this is the opportunity for us to make a transformational move in our bus transportation system that is based on sound economics, that is based on fairness, because again, the small and large operators have on day one the opportunity to own their company, right? So it's not like they're being kicked out of the industry. You have now a company that will be renewing all of the fleet. In our meeting on Friday, we will be having representation from our experts in the Ministry of Economic Transformation to explain the many different financing opportunities that are out there. Let me give you an example. The Exim Bank from South Korea, for products that it produces, is able to lend for the purchase of those products at the incredibly low interest rate of 0.18%, not even 0.25%. And so that is just one among many other opportunities that are there to renew. And we're talking now about new buses, bucket seats, air conditioning, and you have a depot for parts that will be unified because you will not have many types of buses. And so there are numerous benefits and reasons for us to support this proposal that we've been making. In terms of institutional investors, Social Security, the insurance companies, etc., we will be meeting with them and giving them the chance to participate. So for example, if let's say half of the bus operators say we want to be paid out, that is where that portion of the shares can be offered to an institutional investor. So that with this plan, Government of Belize does not need to put out one single red penny at all. It can be done with innovative financial mechanisms to be able to make it functional. Not a penny of the people's money will need to be used in this plan. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am asking for your support, and I am hoping that our friends in the opposition who sit across can demonstrate that they have the capacity to understand basic things that are being laid out to them transparently. And you all are welcome. Yes, man. Yes, man. Do it. Just don't yes, and in the next round, you could participate in buying shares in the company. Right? I would be so disappointed if when we on the government side come up and bring solid plans to you all, that you oppose everything. Right? And if that's the case, then we will have to expose that huge flaw that I would consider then a flaw. But I have hope that you all will be able to understand what we're trying to do, and that it's transparent, and that everybody, sorry for saying it, I don't like this term, everybody for winning in this case, right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I will close by, with your permission, thanking the beautiful people of the Dangriga constituency who gave me the opportunity to serve for one more term. We worked hard on the Plan Belize 1.0, and we now have a solid Plan Belize 2.0 that we will be executing in this term that continues the great work that we started. I would like to thank Prime Minister and Minister Shabat, who worked with us closely in the reopening of the Commerce Bight Port. That is something that languished for 24 years, and nothing was done. of asset that the people of the constituency know that they can benefit from significantly, and the plan that we have to bring in the smaller cruise ships so that we can have a rebirth in the area, especially for tourism activities, those things are now in place. I wish to thank Minister Espat, Julius Espat, who has worked with us along with Prime Minister. And when you go to Dangriga, you will see that the road to Commerce Bight is being paved. It's already halfway paved and it is cemented all the way to the port. And we in Dangriga are grateful for that investment being made in our community. We are also grateful, Mr. Speaker, for the multipurpose park, 10.1 acres, that is already on its way with investments from BTB, and I want to thank Minister Mala for his leadership in making this happen, and he's doing this across the country. When you go there, you will see things are happening, things are moving up, and all the naysayers, I don't know where they're gone. I try finding, but they have disappeared. I don't know, they disappeared just like some of them folks across the other side. Disappearing act, right? The call center is expanding, and I want to thank Minister Koi, who was instrumental in bringing the call center to Dangriga. Our land program continues. In fact, I thank the DPM for the work that he's doing with us, and I also want to thank Prime Minister for the CDF, because in combination with the resources that we have and the help we're getting from MIDH, we're now putting in all-weather roads in the Hope Creek area so our people can access their land and start to developing what they now have that is valued at more than $25,000 per lot. Education continues. Of course, I had the privilege of serving in that ministry along with Senior Minister Francis Fonseca. We did great work in that area across the country, but in Dangriga itself with free education, we have Delil, we have Anri that are now free. And I was just informed last night by CEO Narda Garcia that the funds have been fully approved for the IT Vet Center that's in Hope Creek. I think it's $1.2 million for the renovation of that center, and we in the community are most grateful, Minister and Minister of State. Thank you very much. I also then want to close now with a great big thank you, Saremai, to my executive who have worked very, very hard in the Dangriga constituency. We've worked very closely with our mayor and councillors. And in fact, every success that we have, I want to give credit where it's due, because true success that is sustainable is really earned by a lot of people coming together and giving the best that they can to make the lives of our people better. And that's what we do in the John Briceño administration. We serve our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I recognize the member from Orange Walk East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I get into my presentation, I would like to, first of all, extend and greet our medical students who I know are tuning at this moment, listening to the very important budget debate, that are currently studying in Cuba, 37 of them, of which 29 are studying medicine, and out of those 29, we have 8 doctors who are doing their residencies, and I am told that we are expecting some diplomas in order, so I want to congratulate those students who are out there studying in that country. Mr. Speaker, I rise today honored to speak in support of the 2025-2026 budget estimates. I do so wearing two hats. First, as Minister of Health and Wellness. Second, and most important, as the proud area representative for Orange Walk East, a constituency marked by resilience, vision, and progress. At the onset, Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank my family, my wife, my daughter, my in-laws, and my mother and my father, and all those in my family who have been there supporting me every single step of this way. Let me also thank the good people of Orange Walk East for the overwhelming mandate they gave me in the March 12th general elections. 62.3%, Mr. Speaker, of the registered voters showed up to the polls, and 83.99% voted for Kevin Bernard. Yes. That is 8 out of every 10.
9 next time.
We will go bigger next time. A clear indication, Mr. Speaker, by all measure, that the people of Orange Walk East remain on track. You see, they know that together, and with the support of our Prime Minister, we are delivering for Orange Walk East. As we say, vamos bien. Mr. Speaker, this year's budget, as outlined by the Prime Minister, is an account of last year's success in the management of the affairs of the Belizean people. It also sets out our bold plan for another year of prudent management of government's resources and realistic programs to advance our national development. But it is more than that. This year's budget is a reflection of a political organization that is delivering on its promise to restore confidence, to focus on nation building, and to be a people-centered and forward-thinking administration. Mr. Speaker, this is a realistic budget. It highlights economic stability. Its deliverables are in line with our social justice values, and it seeks to engender inclusive development. Above all, Mr. Speaker, it affirms a foundational truth that there can be no national prosperity without public health and wellness. For all these reasons, I fully support and register my vote in favor of the 2025-2026 General Appropriations Bill. Before I proceed into my prepared statement, though, Mr. Speaker, I have to respond to the Leader of the Opposition. Yesterday, the Leader of the Opposition got up and made various statements in reference to the Ministry of Health. In one of the, and I will go through them, so I was not prepared to take so long, but I have to respond because we need to set the record straight. One of the points the Leader of the Opposition raised was, she said that there's major increases in management staff. Let me point out that there has not been any major increase in management staff. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we have vacancies in a few management positions that we have not yet even filled, namely the Deputy Director of Public Health and Wellness. We have not created new posts at the level of high management, except for the restructuring of headquarters done over the past 5 years. That restructuring included 2 essential new posts. Our efforts have only been to fill existing vacancies of positions created during the health sector reform many years ago. The Leader of the Opposition also stated in her statement that there has been minimal increase in technical staff. Again, Mr. Speaker, the opposite is the reality. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is very cognizant of the increasing demand for services in the primary care setting and within the hospital setting. Being conscious to maintain the quality of care and to cope with the increased demand of services, we have consciously increased the number of medical laboratory technicians in all community and regional hospital medical laboratories. We have restructured the community health workers' duties and recruited more CHWs in order to improve access to care. May I remind the Leader of the Opposition that it is this government who increased the stipend for community health workers from that $100 stipend to $500 a month. I must also remind the Leader of the Opposition that some staff recruited during the COVID-19 crisis was observed by the Ministry of Health and Wellness due to the need to ensure coverage and access to quality care. These are not managerial positions. These are frontline technical staff. The same holds for nursing and physicians. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, Mr. Speaker, has been actively recruiting general practitioners who have applied to work with us, and we have put them in hospitals and polyclinics where the need is great. For the first time, the PG PCP and San Antonio PCP has its full complement of doctors. The continued impact, Mr. Speaker, is that these physicians are fulfilling needs that impact on the people visiting our facilities to shorten their waiting time. The management at headquarters is constantly seeing how best we can place and rotate the physicians and nurses to ensure we address the needs of the person who seek these services. These are technical staff placed on the front line. For the first time, Mr. Speaker, the Western Regional Hospital has a full-time pediatric surgeon. Our regional hospitals have orthopedic surgeons working full-time. We have increased the number of specialties in the northern, western, and southern regional hospitals. We have also increased critical staff in public health and prevention of diseases areas such as an increase in nutritionists, vector and environmental health staff, adherence counselors, and social workers and psychologists. The Leader of the Opposition also went on to speak about exorbitant pharmaceutical and medical supplies costs. So, Speaker, it's no secret that globally there is a shortage in the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals post-COVID-19. And it is no secret that the bigger countries have the capacity to hoard the pharmaceuticals, and they have been doing it, which has contributed to an increase in the cost in the market for smaller countries. Our constant challenge then has been for the tendering committee that supports the Ministry of Health and Wellness to find that balance between cost, quality, and availability. What strikes me as well yesterday in her message is that when the Leader of the Opposition probably looked at the budget book, she did not realize the area she was looking at. Because I think she quoted from the Capital Cap 2 expenditure when she shouted out in her statement that there is no investment for primary health care services for public institutions. She must be reminded that these comes under recurring expenses. But to answer her question, her statement, Mr. Speaker, we have been investing in public health care services across this country. The Western Regional Hospital, a few months ago, had a complete renovation to include the major medical and surgical wards. This area, Mr. Speaker, was the original ward of the hospital. but now it is new and comfortable for both patients and staff. This Southern Regional Hospital was fully retrofitted. The Punta Gorda Hospital was also retrofitted and is now a smart facility. The San Ignacio Community Hospital had spaces completely refurbished to accommodate staff of the National Drug Abuse Council, thus having them also integrated in the San Ignacio Hospital environment, something we plan to do in every regional facility. And a few days ago, Mr. Speaker, the Central Medical Laboratory, 13 long years the UDP was in government and never did one thing to fix that Central Medical Laboratory. It took this administration, it took this government to ensure that we address the much needed improvements.
Clean up, will you clean up after that?
So, Mr. Speaker, when the lab was handed back over to us, and I want to thank the EU, PAHO, and all the partners who assisted us in making sure this became a reality, the entire building was refurbished to create a more comfortable environment for the staff of the laboratory. Mr. Speaker, we could go on and on. The Pomona Health Center, which was retrofitted and upgraded. The Santa Elena Health Center has been retrofitted and upgraded and remains open from 7 to 5. Placencia, and I want to thank my colleague, the Minister Marla, for his support. That Placencia now boasts of a new health facility in the middle of 2024 when we launched that facility. And it operates from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with emergency cover 24/7. And we have plans, Mr. Speaker, in this budget to expand the Palmview facility to increase an additional 25 beds for persons suffering from mental illnesses. The renovation of the Matron Roberts PCP, the construction of the San Pedro Hospital, which is underway, and the new tertiary hospital in Belmopan. And of course, we can go on and on. But, Mr. Speaker, over the past 3 years, significant efforts have been made to strengthen medical officers in basic emergency care and in emergency triage assessment and treatment. And this has resulted in improved care at the accident and emergency. So I don't know where the leader of the opposition was informed that we are doing less surgeries. That was one of her statements as well. Let me say that 7 months ago, we recruited a pediatric surgeon from the Caribbean, and this has increased pediatric surgeries in this country. A few months ago, we placed an orthopedic surgeon full-time for the first time at the Western Regional Hospital. He now consults and performs surgeries for patients referred from the South and Western regions. Over the past 12 months, Mr. Speaker, for the first time, we now have 3 full-time surgeons in each of the Northern Region and Western Regional hospitals. All of this, of course, has reduced the number of surgical referrals to KHMH, making it very convenient for the patients to have their families around them and not having to travel to KHMH. Some surgeries, Mr. Speaker, like the pediatric surgeries, had to be done in neighboring countries, but now can be done in our own land, Belize. The leader of the opposition also, Mr. Speaker, said $0 for mental health in the budget. Let me highlight to the leader of the opposition and to this nation that the investment in mental health has been significant. Through technical cooperation, we have been able to collaborate to complete the mental health policy and to launch of the Belize National Suicide Prevention Plan. On March 8, Mr. Speaker, the Belize National Suicide Prevention Plan was launched in collaboration with PAHO. Invited stakeholders and staff and mental health advocates took part of this launch. We have done meeting and presentation on childhood disorders for the mental health staff. We had done training on psychiatric emergencies for medical staff countrywide. We have done training on dementia and Alzheimer's for caretakers of elderly. We have done training on suicide to high school teachers. We have done media training in mental health reporting. The MH-GAP, Mr. Speaker, training has been conducted across the country to better equip frontline workers to identify and address mental health issues in emergency setting. And I can also add that in terms of the collaboration with the police, ongoing strengthening of the partnership with the police department, including training of the police officers, updating the police training manual, conducting stakeholder consultation with police officers countrywide to better understand and improve the situation that police may face with as it deals with mental patients. We have been advocating for better mental health, Mr. Speaker, through various ads on prime time spots, presenting in workplaces in order to improve workplace wellness for mental health. We have done very many various fairs and forums and presentations across this country in schools countrywide. So we have been addressing these many concerns. The leader of the opposition also said that there is $0 allocated for the purchase of equipment. The Ministry of Health budget, Mr. Speaker, has budgeted $650,000 alone from the recurrent budget for equipment. And this does not include spare parts nor computer equipment. In CAP 2, $1.5 million has been estimated for specialized equipment. She said $0 allocated for reconstruction and construction of public facilities. But, Mr. Speaker, with the assistance from the IDB, funds have been allocated for the retrofitting of the Northern and Southern Regional Hospital, the Matron Roberts Health Center, and the Palm View Center, as I said. And may I remind the leader of the opposition, as she highlighted that the grants to KHMH is minimal. It is this government, again, that had to step in and increase the subvention for KHMH to $33 million. It is in the hope, Mr. Speaker, that we continuously work to improve the services for KHMH. And we are at this point reviewing the entire situation at KHMH and looking at how, with the plans to construct a new secondary hospital in Belize City, to be able to support the work and services at the Carl Hirschner Memorial Hospital. But I turn back to my prepared message, Mr. Speaker. Plan Belize 2.0, like its predecessor, Plan Belize, focuses its national health agenda on a simple but indisputable fact that our health is our wealth. The task of realizing this bold yet significant responsibility is vested upon the hundreds of public officers, doctors, and healthcare professionals across this nation. I am both honored and humbled to serve as their leader in this great work, and I ask all in this chamber, including you, Mr. Speaker, to join me in giving them a round of applause. In so doing, Mr. Speaker, our ministry has continued its ambitious transformation of Belize's healthcare system. A key milestone of this work is the expansion of the National Health Insurance Program. Outlined in the Prime Minister's budget presentation, NHI will soon be rolled out all across the Cayo district, extending the coverage to an additional 93,416 Belizeans. Over $80 million in services are now being delivered through NHI. Other major accomplishments, Mr. Speaker, that we have achieved is the recruitment of 129 new community health workers, the launch of the 2025 Community Health Workers Manual, upgrades to the Belize health information system. Our dental outreach has been in the range of over 11,000 patients. We now boast of mammography services at Western Regional Hospital, with a new one coming soon for the Northern Regional Hospital in the prevention of cancer for women that suffers with breast cancer. This government is serious when it comes to health care for our people. As I mentioned in my response to the Leader of the Opposition as it relates to the mental health issues, we have launched the National Suicide Prevention Plan. We have updated our Communicable Disease and STI Surveillance Manual. We have launched the Belize Health Sector Strategic Plan for 2025-2034, which is a visionary 10-year roadmap, Mr. Speaker, designed to deliver transformative, equitable, and sustainable health care for all Belizeans. We have as well, Mr. Speaker, our Human Resource for Health Policy and Strategic Plan is almost complete for the years 2025-2029, which is aimed at building and sustaining a resilient, skilled, and equitably distributed health workforce aligned with the goals of universal health. We have completed the Belize Health National Adaptation Plan, HNAP, which is now being implemented. This document, Mr. Speaker, aims to strengthen our health system to effectively anticipate, prepare for, and respond to the health impacts of climate change. The Belize Quality Policy for Health 2025-2029 is also in its final stages of approval. This highlights our commitment, Mr. Speaker, to improving the quality, safety, and standards of health service delivery. Our National Triage Policy for 2025-2029 is soon to be approved, which aims to strengthen delivery of emergency and outpatient care across the health system. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the allocations in the budget for health, this budget delivers over $50 million to build upon what we have already done and will be used for the construction of the hospitals in San Pedro and Belmopan, medical equipment upgrades and infection control systems, 4 surveillance vehicles and cold chain improvements, fully equipped mobile health clinics. It will also assist with our telemedicine and rural mental health pilot projects. It will assist with the construction of a new polyclinic in Orijuak town. It will also assist, which we have already started, with the construction of the pediatric wing at the Northern Regional Hospital. Mr. Speaker, when you talk about healthcare, workforce development, and innovations, this budget will help with reforms in areas such as our laparoscopic surgery at NRH, something we have now implemented at Northern Regional Hospital, which we also intend to carry out in all the other regional facilities. It will assist with the recruitment of pediatric and specialist physicians. This budget will assist with the 60+ yearly scholarship for nursing and midwifery. This budget, Mr. Speaker, will assist with the nursing retention package that Cabinet was able to approve for our nurses who have been working hard in this country, and we have already approved the first phase, which comes into effect, I believe, right here next month, and will be done in 3 phases between 2025 and 2027. This budget, Mr. Speaker, will assist with emergency, maternal, and mental health training. Add all this to the exceptional work we have done together over the past 4 years, like the complete eradication of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, reaching the status of a nation free from malaria, providing free primary and secondary health care, moving one step closer to universal health coverage. Where and what did the UDP do to provide these type of service? Never over the 13 years in office. This budget, Mr. Speaker, will assist in modernizing our health system by adding and renovating health clinics across the nation. And I had already highlighted the Placencia Polyclinic. the upgrade of the Georgeville and Dangriga polyclinics, which was completed, with plans to construct new health centers in Hopkins and upgrade the San Roman Village Health Center in the Orange Walk district. With all these investments, we are reducing the infant mortality rate across this nation. The record is clear, Mr. Speaker. We are living in a healthier nation. No more babies dying in large numbers in our hospitals. No more containers full of expired medicine being hidden from the public eye. No more lack of proper equipment in our regional hospitals to do simple procedures. No more dilapidated central medical laboratory because, as I said, we now have a fully equipped central medical lab and plans are in place to upgrade our regional labs all across the country. No more, Mr. Speaker, 20-year-old equipment at our tertiary or only tertiary hospital, KHMH, which now boasts of a fully functional CT scan and new X-ray machines.
Top of the line.
Top of the line, including, Mr. Speaker, the new top-of-the-line X-ray machines at Northern Regional Hospital, San Ignacio Community Hospital, and the Southern Regional Hospital.
Preach, brother, preach.
We have not reached where we want to be, but we are getting there, and getting there we will together. Mr. Speaker, I turn now to Orange Walk East, delivering real results for the people. It is with great pride, Mr. Speaker, and deep sense of duty that I highlight the tremendous progress we continue to make on together with the great people of Orange Walk East. Orange Walk East, Mr. Speaker, as you know, is both urban and rural. A significant portion of our constituency is part of Orange Walk Town, and we have 5 vibrant villages. In the Orange Walk East, Mr. Speaker, I reaffirm that we are committed, and we remain committed, to improving access to health care in our rural communities. All our rural communities in Orange Walk East alone, we have upgraded clinics in those areas that have health posts, ensuring that our residents receive quality care closer to home, like in Santa Marta, where we have constructed a health center. We have deployed mobile medical clinics to villages such as Carmelita, Palmar, Tower Hill, Champagne Ridge, and as well as Santa Marta, reaching even the most remote residents. And let's talk, Mr. Speaker, about the infrastructure development in Orange Walk East. For us, infrastructure development is not just a goal, it is a necessity. And I am pleased to report that for the people of Orange Walk East, it is a reality. We promised to pave Champagne Ridge Road, Mr. Speaker, and that has now been fulfilled. We promised the people of San Jose Nuevo Palmar that we are going to pave the 2 major roads in that community. That has already been completed, Mr. Speaker. And I may add that the paving of the road to Guinea Grass has also benefited the people of Tower Hill. We have constructed a new water system in Tower Hill, one that never existed before, and I want to thank my colleague, the then Minister for Rural Transformation, Honorable Rekenia, who lobbied along with us, and through the CDF funds, we were able to build a very much needed water system for the people of Tower Hill. Critical streets in Orange Walk East in the Tongue area are now being paved every month, thanks to a real and ongoing partnership with our mayor and the Orange Walk Town Council. Phase 1 of the Ramon Cervantes Senior Park in the Pasadita area is complete, and additional phases are underway. We have already started paving preparations, Mr. Speaker, in the Pasadita area, which is currently ongoing, as I said. In every village, we've installed new street lights and replaced old ones, making our communities safer and more livable. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we are looking at plans for the upgrade and paving of the old Northern Highway, which connects Carmelita and Santa Marta villages. As you are aware, the former area representative for Belize Rural North, through his lobbying efforts, the Honorable Marconi Leal Sr., was able to secure the paving from the Sand Hill to the bridge at Mascal. We are lobbying to ensure that we can connect that road, Mr. Speaker, because it will benefit the people, the farmers, and the persons that travel and traverse that area on a regular basis. We are also lobbying, Mr. Speaker, for more roads to be paved, especially in our village of Carmelita, around the school and the key main roads in that community. My colleague, I will not repeat that. Santa Marta village, Mr. Speaker, will also see more development of lighting expansion in the community and works to develop a proper garbage disposal site. We are aware as well that in the Santa Marta village community, the water issue is a problem. And I am very pleased to announce that we have already been given the green light, and I believe it's through UNICEF, that funding will be earmarked through the Rural Development Office to put a water treatment system that will allow us to have better drinkable water for the people of that community. In terms of our social services and community support, Mr. Speaker, in Orange Walk East, our people-centered approach works towards ensuring that no one is left behind. And we are doing this in numerous ways. Thanks to our support from the former Minister of Education and the current Minister of Education, we continue and we have been able to support and provided education support to hundreds of students in need. We have offered medical assistance to residents facing health issues. We have been able, through the Ministry of Housing, constructed and delivered homes to single mothers, giving them a foundation of dignity and security. This budget, Mr. Speaker, will do much more of these things. We have been able to support and sponsor all village councils with Mother's Day and Christmas programs and back-to-school programs, extending our celebrations to the people of the tongue as well. Mr. Speaker, we have continuously supported sporting activities, and this year, our yearly Mondalito tournament, organized by my good friend Wilson Chato Perez, is currently underway. And let us talk about women empowerment in Orange Walk East. Empowering our women is a cornerstone of our work. We've supported innovative programs like Sip and Paint, creating safe and creative spaces for women to connect. We actively help single mothers obtain employment and secure land, putting real tools for independence in their hands. Mr. Speaker, through the support of our able councillor, Dorette Pascasio, and I must big her up, we have monthly events and activities for our women and children with special needs. Everyone is involved. Everyone is included. Todos ganamos. In terms of education, as I said, Mr. Speaker, with thousands of young people in our constituency, we understand more must always be done in the area of education. For us, this is an investment in our future. And to this end, we have provided schools with new sports equipment, encouraging physical wellness. Computer labs in Champagne Ridge and Carmelita schools are now fully air-conditioned and modernized, giving students the tools they need to succeed. We continue to address our youth as well in our constituency, Mr. Speaker. We believe in giving our young people a stake in this nation. And I want to thank the Deputy Prime Minister for his support that just recently 500 residential lots have been distributed to first-time young land adult owners. A powerful step toward economic independence and national pride. They now own a piece of this jewel. And the young people of Champagne Ridge will also soon benefit where an additional 100 house lots have been earmarked, which is currently being surveyed and finalized, will also be distributed to those young deserving Belizeans in Champagne Ridge. As it relates to our community empowerment in Orange Walk East, Mr. Speaker, we continue to shine as a beacon of community support and development through a variety of meaningful initiatives. And among the many wonderful projects carried out, our back-to-school support program, where we distribute school bags to students to ensure that they are prepared and excited for the new academic year. Our summer learning programs, where we offer free reading classes during the summer to help children strengthen their literacy skills. Our holiday joy for special needs children, our heartwarming Christmas dinners and gifts for all children with special needs in the community is something we continuously offer to our children in need. Our inclusive excursions, it's a special and all expenses paid trip for children with special needs to the Belize Zoo and Old Belize, creating joyful memories and inclusive experiences. Our Easter Fun, a festive Easter egg hunt and personalized Easter basket for children with special needs. Our empowerment workshops, as I said, where we offer free workshops aimed at uplifting both women and men, providing tools for personal growth, confidence building, and economic empowerment. These initiatives, Mr. Speaker, reflect a deep commitment to inclusivity, education, and community well-being. Orange Walk East is not only investing in today, but building a stronger, more supportive tomorrow for all. As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, there is great love in Orange Walk East, not just at election time. Those who know me are well aware that we don't work to win elections. We work every single day for the good people of Orange Walk East. What motivates this work, Mr. Speaker, this work ethic, is the fact that every person from the East deserves better. As good as it gets, we can always work to do more. As we speak, in rural communities across this nation, the people are back at the polls. The village councils have started, and soon we'll be voting in Orange Walk East. I must tell you, sir, we are not taking anything for granted. As we go about meeting with our villagers, we look around for signs of the UDP. In fact, none of them are in here. Whichever one of the many versions of the UDP that exists in the East, the truth is, they are absent. In the East, the opposition is non-existent. Perhaps a few may rebrand themselves as independents. Either way, we look forward to sharing our excitement over Plan Belize 2.0 with them. But when it is all over, Mr. Speaker, I can say with confidence that the people of Orange Walk East will welcome anyone into their homes, whether they be UDPs or independents. They will ask them, can you deliver for us like Kevin and the PUP are doing? And when they cannot find no honest response to this question, I know that the people in Tower Hill, in Santa Marta, in Champagne Ridge, in Carmelita, and in our lovely San Jose Nuevo Palmar, they will say to them, begone. I am voting with purpose. I am voting for progress. I am voting PUP. You see, Mr. Speaker, our record in Orange Walk East is one of success. This is reinforced by the significant victory we recently received at the polls on March 12th. 83.99% voted for the People's United Party. And I give my assurance to our people that I will keep working hard every day to continue the work so that in the hearts and minds of our people, the sun will always rise and shine brightly in the East. Before I end, Mr. Speaker, I want to take an opportunity to thank my team at Orange Walk East, especially my office staff, DeAndre Soto, Aldair Lima, Kendra Anderson, Kevin Rogers, Ian Carl, Dorette Pascasio, Wender Alamia, and all those members of the executive, the wider executive, our leaders in Palmar like Orlando Balam and Yanni Jones and Jafet Torres and Maura, those in Santa Marta like Patty Lance and Sandra Borland and Maria Sosa, those in Champagne Ridge like Cornelio Torres and Alfred Torres and Pete Torres, those are the soldiers. People in Carmelita like our hard warrior Dorothy Raban and Victor Polanco and Janine Konarki and all those persons, Linda Konarki, that have been behind the scenes working for us. The people in Tower Hill. And I want to ask for prayers for our good friend Yvette, who is suffering at this point. But I know we have young people like Angie Pat and those who will continue to lead the people of Tower Hill working together with myself. And of course, Mr. Speaker, I cannot miss the other communities in Orange Walk, the other areas in Orange Walk that we know have always been there for us. And so I want to thank the great people of that community, of our community. And I want to ask the great people of this constituency that as our young new leaders, female leaders stepping up for the village council elections, like young Tiffany Zul, young Angie Pat, and our young Nahim Reyes, Mr. Adan Yanis, and of course our repeat chairman candidate Victor Polanco, for them to give them that support. So, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and as the proud representative for Orange Walk East, I endorse and support the 2025-2026 budget estimates, and I reaffirm our shared commitment to turning promise into progress. That's the words, right? Promise into progress. Thank you. Promise into performance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May God bless the Orange Walk East constituency, and may God bless Belize.
We'll suspend the meeting temporarily so we can make accommodations for the member for Pickstock with the podium.
you have put in your work and you have shown this nation that as a young man, you have the ability to serve our people, and especially the people of Khalid. And like that crowd on the other side, when I look at you, well, sorry, nobody there over there, right? They are not the same thing. When I look at them when they're here, and I look on our side and see people like you, Marconi and younger era reps, I am convinced that the People's United Party and others coming up, Eliud Miller, Alan Pollard, all of these people, that our party is in good hands. Before I get into my substantive presentation, I would like just to rebut some of the things that the honorable member from Albert said. She spewed a lot of negativity towards the budget, but I don't think she believed what she was saying. In fact, I would like to say that the member from Albert should be thankful, and I want to commend her for being the first female leader of the opposition in this House. But truth be told, she would not be in that position if you were not in your position. They talk about bags of money in a college, right? In a previous House meetings. Bags of money. In fact, yesterday she said that. But I want people to know that the full Dean Barrow hierarchy was in Khalid supporting Patrick Farber. So if you didn't do your job, she wouldn't be in there and no history would have been written. Mr. Speaker, on March 12th, the Belizean people gave a loud message. In fact, the PUP won by 67% of the votes, a record number. With the support of the Belizean people, we have left the opposition discombobulated and in a state of confusion. Mr. Speaker, the Belizean people are no fools. They know that dirty heart can't serve them. And like my ballad Romain Virgo say, map can't clean dirty heart. And in a Belize when I say, map, broom, fabuloso, discipline, harpic, none of that can clean the dirty heart over there. If they don't love themselves, how can they love the Belizean people? In fact, hear this. They ran the economy off the cliff leading up to 2020. The economy was in a recession. They left all government institutions broken and in a state of disrepair. Crime was out of control. Corruption was a part of their DNA. And they take up all the prime real estate, thousands of acres. But thank God for this John Briceño administration, we put this economy back on track. In fact, if you look at the GDP growth just over the last 2 or 3 years, you will see that it has grown by about 21%. We decreased the debt to GDP ratio. We put some adrenaline into the economy. And for multiple years, it has surpassed what all the IFIs said we could achieve. We decreased unemployment below 3%, rolled out free education, expanded NHI. We built and continue to build cement starter homes. And the DPM alluded to that or spoke to that yesterday, how people really, really appreciate those homes. In fact, it makes me smile when I see many, especially single mothers, crying and weeping in joy to be able to get their homes. So, Mr. Speaker, you will hear from the other side over and over, all 2 or 3 of them, 5, I don't know which one I show up, that this government is not doing their job and this budget doesn't represent the Belizean people. I just want them to be reminded that they had 13 years and they gave the people nothing but misery. With your permission, Mr. Speaker, I would like to refer to my notes. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of this year's budget. This morning, I will go beyond just presenting data and outlining initiatives. I believe that our Belizean people expect and want more. They want to know how this budget will improve their lives. That's why we approach this comprehensive national exercise with purpose and responsibility. The budget process ensures that public resources are properly planned, allocated, and monitored. But at its core, it's all about our people. Today, I reaffirm that this John Briceño-led administration is committed to the kind of progress that will impact the day-to-day realities of Belizeans from all walks of life. And the CABSEC tell me that in short time we'll be able to call our leader and the Prime Minister Right Honorable John Briceño. The King met us step the game up, right? Yes. Right. Mr. Speaker, I use Change Agent as my slogan because it reflects how I approach leadership and public service. In the book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, the author speaks of praxis, which means the practical application of a theory. He explains that liberation is a praxis. It is the action and reflection of men and women upon their world that transforms it. In other words, we cannot just think about change. We must act with purpose. This captures exactly how we work in the Ministry of Tourism, Youth, Sports, and Diaspora Relations. My team and I are committed to the work needed that will bring about the changes to propel Belize forward. But the change that we believe in is neither haphazard nor superficial. It is strategic and impactful. Change that is guided by the needs of our people. Mr. Speaker, we are change agents. In the Prime Minister's budget presentation, he spoke about the country's real GDP growth of 8.2% in 2024. This was led by the services sector, which grew by an impressive 10.5%, and tourism did its part to contribute to that growth. This sharp increase in overnight tourism positively impacted many sectors of our economy, both directly and indirectly. Mr. Speaker, this year's public investment programs reflect a bold commitment to development. A record $337 million is being allocated under Capital II budget. Priorities include infrastructure, health, education, agriculture, tourism, youth, and sports. Mr. Speaker, this year's budget includes targeted investments in education, community development that speaks directly to the needs of our people. In the area of education, about $5 million has been allocated to the Healthy Start feeding program and to expand internet access to schools. For social and community development, we have allocated almost $20 million that support constituency development, small business programs, and youth programs. These investments create opportunities at the grassroots level. Other key allocations include $30 million for nationwide road maintenance and 50 million for the expansion of the National Health Insurance Program. In addition, 185 million is allocated to CAP 3 budget to support transformative projects like the construction of hospitals in San Pedro and Belmopan, renewable energy investments through the World Bank and the Saudi Fund, skills training programs via IDB, and over 10 million to support Blue Cities development in San Pedro, Belize City, and Punta Gorda. Mr. Speaker, these investments are fully aligned with Belize's medium-term development strategy and the goals of Plan Belize 2.0. And while many are multi-year projects, the allocations for this fiscal year alone demonstrate our government's commitment to transforming vision into reality. This level of public investment is important to tourism because it strengthens the infrastructure, services, and community resilience that directly shape the visitor's experience and support sustainable growth across the tourism industry. The investment in all these areas cannot succeed without our public-private sector partnerships. We need all hands on deck, our public service, our teachers, our micro, small, and medium enterprises, our NGOs. We need everyone, Mr. Speaker. The growth and development of our nation must be inclusive and certainly not just for a select few. We must ensure that we lend a helping hand to people from all walks of life. That's how strong nations are built, and that is our philosophy in the PUP, Mr. Speaker. No, not done with that. The government is the biggest employer, and with the unemployment rate at a record low of 2.1% last year, we know that our Belizean people are working. That, coupled with the increase in the minimum wage, have given our people the opportunity to earn a decent living. I support the Prime Minister's intention to increase the minimum wage again to $6, and I would hope at some point down the road we can reach $7.50. I also support the government's proposal to increase salaries for all public officers and not just teachers. We do have hard-working people both in the public and in the private sector. But if we are to be honest, there are inefficiencies throughout the system. Mr. Speaker, as a nation, we must refuse to be the poster child for Pareto's principle. And for those who don't know what that means, it's called the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the productivity is done by 20% of the people. We need, like I said, all hands on deck. Mr. Speaker, with regard to the public sector, we recognize and deeply value the dedication of our public officers and teachers and the vital role they play in shaping the future of our nation. But the reality is the public service and our education system have been plagued by challenges for decades. We therefore acknowledge the need for more resources, but we must also emphasize the need for greater productivity and efficiency. Mr. Speaker, as I get into the specifics of our work and priorities for the fiscal year 2025-2026, allow me to thank the Prime Minister for entrusting me with the additional portfolios of youth and sports. Together with the Honorable Minister of State, Devin Daly, our team is fully committed to ensuring that we transform these areas with energy, focus, and action. We are doing our part to transform this nation into the best it can be for all of our Belizean people. Allow me now, Mr. Speaker, to expand on each of these crucial areas. Tourism. Mr. Speaker, I am convinced that tourism is Belize's most important industry. It is linked to every major sector of our economy. It drives foreign exchange, attracts investment, supports infrastructure development, preserves and promotes our cultures and the environment, and strengthens global connectivity. Most importantly, tourism drives the creation of jobs for our people. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to say that over 25,000 Belizeans earn their living from working directly in the tourism industry, and thousands more indirectly. Tourism sustains many Belizean households across this country. It is an industry we must protect, and that means ensuring that the right structures, systems, laws, and policies are in place to support its continued growth and development. Belize is holding strong in a competitive and uncertain global tourism environment, but there are some dark clouds on the horizon. UN Tourism reported that international arrivals reached 1.4 billion in 2024, an 11% increase over 2023. And the World Travel and Tourism Council, the WTTC, estimates that the sector contributed over $11 trillion or 10% of global GDP. Against this backdrop, Belize performed well, setting a new record for overnight arrivals with over 560,000 guests passing through all our border points. Mr. Speaker, the majority of our overnight arrivals still come through from the United States, accounting for nearly 70% of all arrivals, followed by Europe, Canada, and Mexico. The Philip Goulson International Airport remains our main port of entry, with nearly 80% of the international overnight arrivals. Texas, California, New York, Washington, and Colorado are among our strongest source markets in the U.S. While the U.S. remains our key market, diversification continues to be a top priority. According to Tourism Economics, the key indicators for the performance of the industry this year are trending downwards as a result of trade tensions, global conflicts, inflation, immigration policies, airline disruptions, and security concerns. These factors are changing consumer behavior and softening demand across both leisure and business travel. Economic uncertainty and aggressive immigration enforcement in the U.S. have also created hesitation among diaspora travelers. However, to mitigate this, we are increasing our focus on the Canadian and European markets. Special promotions and direct campaigns will continue to position Belize as an adventure escape. In Mexico and Latin America, we are already seeing results from increased marketing. In fact, Mexican arrivals grew by over 200%, increasing from just over 6,000 in 2023 to almost 14,000 visitors in 2024. To capitalize on new opportunities, we continue to work in Canada, Latin America, and Europe. Our goal is to convert the awareness that we have created into actual visitor arrivals. We also urge the private sector to review their pricing structures so that we can remain competitive as a destination. Mr. Speaker, the first 4 months of 2025 have also shown encouraging results. Record numbers for January, February, and April, with March, which was marginally down. However, we are beginning to see signs of a slower green season. This is a signal that the geopolitical climate is beginning to affect travel and tourism. So we must stay nimble and Agile, the good folks at BTB are here, so.
Full up the galleries, man.
I'm not only 5 man, stop that. In fact, I forget for say morning to the media or the lonesome dove over there, morning. Airlift development is one of the most crucial pillars for the sustained growth of our industry. Quite simply, if it is difficult for travelers to get to Belize, we cannot continue to grow as a destination. Despite global aviation challenges, including fleet shortages, Belize has made real progress over the last 4 years. In fact, just recently I was fortunate enough to have dinner with some of the executives from some of the major carriers that come to Belize, and they all spoke about issues of having airplane shortages. In fact, one of them told me that they had a shortage of over 80 planes. That's just one airline. And so it has been remarkable what we've accomplished over these last 4 years, growing the capacity into Belize. And that is the lifeblood of the tourism industry. In 2024, Belize reached a milestone. We now have direct routes from 7 countries and 21 cities. And even as airlines navigate a complex landscape, Belize is positioned to seize new growth opportunities. Mr. Speaker, I would like to advise the members of this House and the Belizean people that we are currently engaged in negotiations with several airlines in the US, South America, Mexico, the Caribbean, Canada, and Europe. Additional seat capacity is where the growth will come from, Mr. Speaker. Cruise is an important component of the tourism industry, and it provides an opportunity for many small businesses, and that is what I'm most proud of for cruise. Mr. Speaker, the cruise sector is also evolving. In 2024, Belize welcomed approximately 900,000 cruise visitors to our shores. But the growth in cruise has been stunted by the lack of a mainland docking facility. The direction that the cruise industry is taking is focused on scale, meaning bigger ships. And when I mean bigger ships, these are small villages floating on the sea. It's going to be normal for those ships to be able to hold 6,000, 7,000 guests, 2,500, 3,000 crew. So 10,000 people on board those ships. And truth be told, Mr. Speaker, these ships are too big to tender. Mr. Speaker, we have wasted over 20 years waiting for a mainland cruise port, and this has been a disservice to the cruise industry and to the Belizean people. In 2023, I was fortunate to be a part of a delegation led by Prime Minister Briceño and other members of cabinet at that time. And we visited with the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association in Miami, and we sat down and spoke to many executives from the major cruise lines. And since then, a lot of serious discussions have been had to ensure that we get a docking facility in Belize. In fact, in subsequent meetings and conferences that I visited after that meeting, many of the cruise executives have signaled to me and have stated to me that they are impressed with this John Briceño government, and that they see that we have the capacity, the will to do the right things for this country and for the tourism industry. Currently, we are working on a master plan for the Port of Belize, and simultaneously talking to major developers who are interested in partnering with us on this very transformative project. I want to signal that now is the time for us to begin to prepare for the exponential growth that is coming our way. You have to spend a leave money in a Belize City PM. Julius? This close to $1 billion project will transform both cargo and cruise and create many opportunities for our Belizean people. For 2025, there are other areas of our tourism agenda, on our tourism agenda. Belize will redefine its marketing approach by embracing innovation, technology, and adapting to the digital environment. At the heart of our new strategy is Belizean intelligence, where local expertise meets advanced AI solutions like Ava AI, allowing us to deliver smarter, more personalized messaging that connects with the travelers. We are shifting our focus from simply raising awareness to driving real conversions, ensuring that Belize isn't just on their minds, Belize is on their itineraries. Mr. Speaker, to remain aligned with our marketing and brand promise, our tourism product needs continuous improvement. We will continue with the upgrading of infrastructure countrywide, and we are also working to secure major hotel investments. Some other key areas for the government include the establishment of a single window for building approvals, which is crucial. So now MIDH and under them the Central Building Authority will take that role, and everything will have to go through them. So for ease and efficiency. And the advancement of nautical tourism in partnership with the Belize Port Authority. The Border Management Agency is spearheading the development of the PG Marina in the south, a transformative investment that will boost nautical tourism, create jobs, expand recreation and commercial yachting services, and position Punta Gorda as a strategic gateway for both domestic and regional maritime traffic. In fact, there are about 3,000 boats in the Rio Dulce, and many of them would come to Belize if there was the infrastructure. In fact, Toledo, they get a lot of help. Front Street paved, a new cultural center being built, the road to Lobantun started to be paved. We're going to fix up the road to the site itself. Yeah, call it next. So, Osmond and Brother Oscar, you can't complain that Toledo is the forgotten district anymore. Stop playing. With With regard to training and capacity building, we will introduce a tourism program in one of our high schools as a pilot, and finally launch the National Tourism Training Institute. Brother Lloyd, I want that by the end of the year. No questions asked. Despite the challenges presented by the global landscape, we are poised to turn these adversities that we're faced with into opportunities. I have confidence in our public-private sector partnerships to continue to get the job done. Our ongoing engagement with regional organizations like the Munamaya Organization, SICA, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, and the UN Tourism will continue to boost Belize's profile in our global strategies. Mr. Speaker, I want to acknowledge all our local and international partners, especially the private sector, conservation NGOs, financial institutions, and the many government ministries and statutory boards that work with us closely day in and day out. One of our tourism pioneers, the late Mrs. Jean Shaw, once said, "Tourism is everybody's business."